Hello, and welcome to Majority Rules. This is Season 1, Episode 9 or 10. That's kind of up in the air on which episode number it actually is. This is a podcast about Mizzou Athletics Majority, which is Olympic sports athletes. Most of the gang is back together. We've gained an Abigail this time. We lost a Rory, who's in the middle of homecoming hell. But yeah, it is homecoming week here in Columbia. So let's introduce ourselves and say if we have any plans for the festivities. So I'll start. Hi, Karen Steger. I'm the host of this So Much Fun podcast. I'm a softball, gymnastics, and sometimes swimming beat writer at Rock Nation and the Olympic sports manager as well. My homecoming plans, I have actually several different groups of friends in town this weekend, so I think I'm going to go check out House Decks on Friday because that's always super fun. And then tailgate for a way too early game on Saturday, and hopefully watch the Tigers beat the other Tigers. Abigail, let's go to you.
There is not much more that I love than cross country, but homecoming is one of those things. I absolutely love all the Mizzou spirit. So I will be partaking in a lot of the traditions. I'm excited to go to Fling. I'm not amongst the Greek life here on campus, but it is an experience that I pledge every single student should have at least once in their life. It is a fever dream. It's a talent show on steroids, and it's impressive. And then for the parade, I will be live broadcasting outside of the Student Center as part of KCOU's first ever live show. We're doing a HOCO show, and I absolutely love the parade. I was on parade committee a couple of years ago, so it still has my heart, and I'm excited to bring that perspective to the live show. And as far as what I cover here, I'm the cross country and track and field beat reporter. My credibility is that I'm currently in turkey trot training right now. So there you are.
Nice. Look at you. Just showing everybody how it's done. I am not in gymnastics, softball, or swimming training at the moment, unfortunately. I haven't been in the parade since I don't think I was in college, which was, a little while ago. And so that's super fun that you do that all the time. I know that like Mizzou Student Media does a big thing, don't they, for homecoming?
You might see some dinosaurs walking in the parade. That's what I keep hearing. I'm not sure. Keep your eyes open.
Oh, all right. Maybe I'll go. We'll see. All right, the roommates. Who wants to go next?
Looks like I have been volunteered to go first. Hello. Excuse me. Still getting over a little cold. My name is Dylan Heinrich. I am the soccer and women's basketball beat writer here. So about to be very busy for the next 2 to 3 weeks with things gelling together. But for now, I'm just enjoying the homecoming festivities like everybody else. I will be walking in the homecoming parade alongside Mizzou Student Media. For those who don't know, I'm the sports editor for the Maneater. We've got print copies that we're going to be handing out. And so I will be walking with dinosaurs, quite literally, in the foreseeable future. And I will actually get to go to my first football game as a fan. I've worked the rest of them, and I've never gotten the student section experience until Saturday.
Oh, nice.
I will be out, and I will be amongst the crowd, amongst the populace for once.
Are you going to be one of those people in the front row with your chest painted?
I would, but I don't think I'm getting there early enough.
Shucks.
You probably aren't seeing me on the big board, unfortunately. I don't think I'm going to go that crazy.
And then Matthew?
Trying to steal the show, aren't you?
Oh,
I'm Matthew Gustafson, the volleyball and wrestling beat writer here at Rock M, and also the scenery baseball writer now. And for homecoming, I'll be in charge of dragging this person out of the apartment early in the morning because he is never on time before 11 a.m. is what you said, right?
Before 11 a.m.
Never on time before 11 a.m.
Shots fired.
Where I will also be walking in the homecoming parade for MSN.
It's too early for a homecoming parade, man. This has to be at least noon.
I will admit, I did wake up late for the homecoming parade last year. That will not happen this year.
Your accountability
I-
partner may not be super effective there, Dylan.
Well,
I
I
hate
set my
that
alarm
the
for the right
game's at
time.
11.
It's
I set my alarm for the right time, but last year I made the mistake of when your alarm is like within reach. That's not a
snooze
good
button
plan. It's
looks
not a
too
good
pretty.
plan.
Well, I hope everyone has a wonderful homecoming experience. And that the Tigers beat the other Tigers. So let's move on to in-season sports updates, where our soccer team faced a lot of teams from Mississippi in the past week, and Dylan's going to tell us all about it.
Yeah, so they faced the maximum amount of SEC teams you can face from Mississippi, which is 2. So on that last Thursday, they took on Ole Miss, who is currently bottom of the standings in the SEC. It showed Mizzou had their strongest game that I've seen them play as a collective throughout this year, won 5-0. Hat trick for senior Milena Fisher as she continues to step up on offense in the absence of Kylie Simmons, who's been in and out of the lineup as we've seen, but defense continues to look stout. Kate Phillips looks really good in goal. A lot of young players who are just continuing to step up. However, when they traveled to Starkville in the Mississippi State game, things didn't quite go as planned. This was a team that is a national title contender, only has 1 loss. Last time I checked, they were ranked 4th in the coaches poll. So Mississippi State kind of returned the favor with a 5-0 win on the other end. Mizzou was outshot 20-3. Didn't manage to shoot a goal. I think this says less about Mizzou and more about Mississippi State. Like this is what a national title contender team looks like. Best team in the SEC, bar none. They still haven't lost an SEC game. Like, for Mizzou, at the end of the day, you're just going to have to flush this road game and just realize, okay, the Bulldogs are really, really good. Kate Phillips had a couple flashy moments, saw a couple really good things on offense from Keegan Good, as again, when you don't have Kylie Simmons and when Milena Fisher can't quite do everything, who's going to be some of those next people to step up? Keegan Good, Emily DeRucky, I think those are some of the names that will really start to headline that list. Now they currently sit at, so for the SEC standings, it's now the full 16, and they have expanded the SEC tournament to 12. So most teams make it, but not everyone. Mizzou's sitting pretty right at the 12 spot right now. They are on the bubble with 3 games remaining. As they've got a couple really prove-it games against Oklahoma, who's right now on the outside looking in. If you're Missouri, you cannot lose this matchup. You are the favorite. You're at home. If you draw, you probably don't feel great, but you're still in a really good spot to hold against some of these other teams who will continue to beat up on one another. But this game, homecoming weekend against an old Big 8 opponent, I guess it would be Big 12 because they never really played in the Big 8 because they started in 96. But either way, old Big 8, Big 12 opponents, this is a matchup that you should be favored in, one that the Tigers at least have to draw, preferably win. You're looking again at your offense. People I mentioned before, Milena Fisher, Keegan Good, Emily DeRucky. Is Kylie Simmons going to be back in time? We'll see. It'll definitely be a game time decision. We won't know until starting lineups come out about 10 minutes before game time. Kate Phillips has looked really solid in goal, except when she faces a team like Arkansas or Mississippi State, who, again, national title contenders. Right. I don't really have a lot of worries about her. She should continue this sort of 1-0 goals, give her team a shot, but we'll have to just wait and see. I feel pretty confident about this Mizzou team heading into that matchup, that they can contend and at the very least tie. I don't think that there's a high chance they lose this game, but if I'm Missouri, you look at this as you circle this on the calendar. Like, you hate to say that you have must wins, but this is your must win. This is your Super Bowl. This is the one that you're pushing all your cards if you really want to make that push to the very end, if you're Stephanie Golan in Mizzou soccer.
Well, that Ole Miss game was a must win too, and they really won that one.
Ole Miss this year hasn't been great. They've definitely struggled. Right now, they have no SEC wins and 1 SEC draw, so it's really just First of all, I was expecting Mizzou to win that, but they absolutely dominated that in a way that I haven't seen them do it before. Really encouraging. But you look at Oklahoma, they're definitely on a team like Florida. And if you remember, Mizzou beat Florida, but it wasn't this dominating win. They allowed a lot of shots. So it's, okay, how can you limit some of these shots? How can you keep them away from Kate Phillips outside the box? And then on the opposite end, how can you get some of those runs? A lot of their success came against Ole Miss in the open field and just by in the run of play, being able to get runs on one another. And some of their goals they allowed against Mississippi State were often on corner kicks, on free plays, on free kicks. So if you're Missouri, keep the ball in play as much as possible. The more whistles, corner kicks, fouls, the less likely you're going to succeed in this game. So if you can just keep those corner kicks down for both teams, keep those fouls down for both teams, you feel pretty good about the Tigers' chances.
That's good. And you'll be at the game on Friday.
I will be part of
It's a Friday game, not a Thursday.
Yes, it's a little different this time around.
And then as for what you're working on, another Tiger targets.
Yes, I'm made
Still
a lot
plugging away on that Landis Canada piece.
It's close to being done. We might be adding one more source, but we'll see. I feel very good with where it's at and excited to share this with the world. Little sneak preview, Landis Canada, not the most talkative person, but once you get to know her and the people around her, you realize just how truly special of a person and athlete she is. So I'm excited to get to share that and kind of express that vision with the greater world.
She also is a nominee in my book for like all name team. Like it's just she has a cool ass name. All right. Well, thank you, Dylan. I hope you're feeling better. It sounds like you're still a little it's hanging on.
A fun fact that I did not know is allegedly colds can stay in your system for an average of 12 days. That's what a real life doctor told me today. So
real life doctor. I'm glad you it's a real life one instead of a fake one.
Not WebMD.
This is not WebMD. Not a fake internet study. Went to a real life doctor and he's like, yeah, this might be around for a couple more days, but hopefully I'm all better for Friday and for homecoming.
Didn't go to Aaron Rodgers for medical advice.
Oh gosh. I would hope not.
Or to general manage your football team?
No, please. I'm not worth a third rounder.
Matthew's got the shots fired tonight.
Oh, I love it.
Look at him. He's so smug. You're excited. Proud of yourself.
As a Bears fan, any chance I get to throw some shade at Aaron Rodgers, I'm going to do.
He is very throw shadeable.
Plus, these days it's really easy, right?
He does. All right, Matthew. On to you.
All right.
Volleyball. What a difference a week makes. Oh, my gosh. The Tigers are rolling. So let's start with SEMO on Wednesday. I know there's probably not a whole lot you can really gain from that matchup as much. Though my dad did say that on the broadcast, they said that SEMO is in contention to win the OVC. Is that the right
Ohio Valley
conference?
Yep.
Mizzou just kind of embarrassed them.
So this was a get-right game for the Tigers, and they end up doing what they're supposed to. They sweep. They do exactly what you were hoping to see them do, especially coming off of a two-match losing streak in the SEC. Final non-con of the year. Like I said, 3-0 win. They avoid that third set slump. In fact, set 3 was the best set they had in that match. Moving on to Alabama on Friday. Let me tell you, Bama is not the pushover that they've been in the past. They've usually been, just to put it bluntly, really bad in the SEC, maybe the worst program in the conference, but that is not the case this year. The record doesn't necessarily show it. I believe they're 1-4 right now, but they have taken Tennessee to 5 sets. They took a set from Auburn, right? So this is a quality team. And on Friday, they ended up getting the sweep over Bama. They were the first team in the SEC to sweep the Crimson Tide this year. They do it 25-22, 25-19, 25-21. So not a blowout by any stretch, but still a fairly comfortable victory. You know, you didn't really feel like they were in danger of losing this at any point. It was just a matter of how they would win it. They end up hitting 345 for the match compared to 255 for Bama. Another good thing, they limit their attack errors in each of these sets, and then they were able to get all three main hitters, Michael Vernon, Jordan Iliff, and Janet Demaray, on the same wavelength, able to have them all hitting fairly efficiently. All of them were hitting above 250. That was something really good to see. Iliff and Demaray in particular had struggled against A&M and Kentucky. They pretty much put that past them in the Alabama and SEMO matches. And now you've got some momentum heading in Friday, right? Sunday, against Tennessee.
Wait, don't go to Sunday yet. At first, I'm going to need, because I was not at the game on Friday, I'm going to need you to explain what was going on with the men's swim team at the game.
So it was athletes night, from my understanding, and most all of the Mizzou athletic teams were there. Swim and dive was there. Gymnastics was there, among others. And men's swim and dive, to be specific, does this thing where they put on 25 layers of clothing. And for every point that Mizzou scores in a set, they will remove a layer. So what you're seeing here is the end of the process, in which they are now all in their swimming Speedo attire. And this is celebrating Mizzou winning a set. And I believe that they did this last year as well. It is, believe me, it is highly entertaining. And it's exactly what you would expect when men's swim and dive shows up at a different athletic event. Like, just imagine what you would expect, the goofiness that they would do. That it's exactly like spot on. That's exactly what happened, you know. And
so
it's a lot of entertainment.
Jackie said at the gymnastics meet that she's like, how can we get swim and dive involved and do that at one of our meets? I'm like, let's work on that.
I'm not really sure how the layer thing would work there.
Yeah.
But I'm sure they can find a way.
Less layers, take off one layer after each rotation. I
don't know. Maybe like one layer every time somebody scores a 9.85 or higher.
Oh, yeah.
That could work.
They better put on a lot of layers.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's something that we will talk about later in this episode. Yeah. But back to volleyball.
Tennessee.
Mizzou getting arguably the biggest win of the season so far. Tennessee receiving votes entering this match. Mizzou takes them down in 5. It was a big comeback. Mizzou wins that first set 25-22. They pull away late to clinch it, and then they fall behind in the second set. They end up coming back a little bit. They actually were able to bring it to set point twice, but Tennessee closes out the set on a 3-0 run, and they take set 2 from the Tigers 27-21. Now, entering that third set, you're going, okay, Mizzou might be in a little bit of trouble here because, like we've talked about, the third set has historically been their weakest this season, and that played out here. It was not close. Tennessee wins at 25-18. They entered the fourth set with all the momentum, and they take, I believe, an 8-1 lead early in the fourth set. All momentum towards Tennessee. Mizzou down 2-1, backs against the wall, and they find a way to fight back. They end up winning that fourth set 25-23, heading into set 5, and put together one of their most complete sets of the year, and arguably their best defensive performance in any set this season. They go on a 10-1 run, and they end up winning set 5, 15-7, which is an absolute blowout in a set 5. That is a ridiculous margin. Now, some of the keys here, once again, you saw all 3 hitters with a stellar performance. Michael Vernon, 14 kills on a 273 hitting percentage. Jordan Iliff, or actually, sorry, those are the Alabama stats. My bad. Here we go. Okay. Michael Vernon, 21 kills on a 222 hitting percentage, but Jordan Iliff, 21 kills on a 364 hitting percentage. And oh, by the way, she added 21 digs. So not only did she get a double-double, but she had over 20 in each category. And then Janet Demaray, putting together maybe her most complete week of the season so far. She gets 16 kills with a 270 hitting percentage. Now, the reason that all these numbers are so gaudy, well, A, they went to 5 sets, but B, they really emphasize getting it to the pins, getting it outside to those 3 hitters. They knew that Tennessee's middles were pretty strong entering and that they would be more effective on the attack. So what they did, they targeted outside. They targeted high hands off of those hitters. High hands is where you hit it, right? And you go for like hitting the top of their fingers and getting it to deflect. And they were able to do that very effectively. Again, and that worked really well because Tennessee taller than Mizzou, right? So you have to get a little creative in your attacks when that is the case. And it worked out really well for them. I think Sullivan, after the match, had also said that they were targeting on offense the setter for Tennessee, Caroline Kerr. And when setter Marina Crownover was in the front row, Jordan Iliff in the back row, the Tennessee defense was essentially leaving Iliff unblocked, and she had wide open shots from the back row, which if you've watched Jordan Iliff at all, you know that is not a good strategy if you're going up against her. And they were able to take full advantage of that. And here's why the win is so big. A, they showed that fight, that determination, right? They showed the ability to take on some of the better teams in the SEC. B, I forecasted this as really the main toss-up left on the schedule. You know, most every match from here until the end of the year, either Mizzou's going to be favored or pretty clearly Mizzou will be the underdogs. Now, you can make an argument now after that Tennessee match about Arkansas and Auburn being closer to a toss-up, but this was a must-win if they are looking to get a higher seed, 6 or 7 seed in the NCAA tournament this year to avoid an 8 seed, which is about where they're at right now. They're currently 31st in the RPI, and Jeffrey Calhoun of KCOU apparently was bored last night and used the RPI rankings to create a bracketology for volleyball, and it had Mizzou currently as an 8 seed based off of those RPI rankings going up against Nebraska. Now, having been at that match last year and knowing Nebraska volleyball, you don't want to go up against them, right? You do not want to go up against a 1 seed. You do not want to be an 8 seed going up against potentially a 1 seed in that second round. So getting to that, a 6 seed, I think is a realistic goal for this team if they're able to take those wins over Arkansas and Auburn, and maybe even a 5 seed if that's the case. But really, they need to be higher than an 8 seed if they want a decent shot of advancing past the second round of the NCAA tournament. So two more things before we move on from volleyball. Number 1, Jordan Iliff, after her performance this week, was named the SEC Player of the Week and SEC Offensive Player of the Week. Number 2, Marina Crownover, the starting setter now, was named SEC Setter of the Week for the second time this season. She's the first Thank you. She was the first player in the SEC, first setter in the SEC, to receive that honor twice in this season.
2 times. That's awesome. So they finish up their homestand
against Mississippi State
weekend. Yep.
Who, again, I will not sugarcoat it. They are not very good. This should be a clear win for this Tigers team and would be a pretty big red flag if they don't. My expectation entering the match would be a sweep, especially with the way the last week played out. Maybe 3-1 if they struggle in that third set. But a sweep and really putting their foot on the gas would just continue to show this team is for real and they are not messing around.
If I just really recommend that people go out and watch the team. That game on that Sunday matchup was like the best thing I've ever seen.
That was probably the best atmosphere at Hearns that I've experienced in now my second year covering the team. Out of these
Yeah,
two,
Phil, the PA announcer,
Yep.
I was talking to him about it, and he was just on fire afterwards. Just couldn't believe how exciting it was. It was. People need to go watch this team. They are so much fun. Just their reactions to everything. It's just, yeah, it's a great time. Highly recommend.
Highly entertaining social media page as well.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
And we have the
just
upcoming
given,
Halloween match. That's my favorite of the year.
Yes. And
Oh, yeah.
thankfully this year it is not against Tennessee.
No.
That was the unfortunate timing last year, is that they had to have Halloween just based on the schedule. They had to have it against Tennessee, which, as the Lady Vols kind of, you can interpret it multiple ways there. So no mistake here. Halloween is about volleyball, Halloween, and it should be a lot of fun. I don't think that they'll have pumpkin jerseys, but they did do like a video, like photo shoot thing at Pumpkin Patch last year. Because they had a video
put
of
pumpkins
Janet
on their
Dillon,
heads.
like dancing around with a pumpkin on her head. Yeah. So we will have to see if we get that again this year.
One last thing, Matthew. I know that you did another interview for your award-winning Over the Net series. It should be award-winning anyway. So tell us who you talked to.
So this week I interviewed Mizzou Volleyball's Director of Operations, Emily Garrett. She has a wide variety of job responsibilities, from arranging travel, helping the coaches with game film, to kind of leading the charge on the analytics side of things for the team. So we talked about analytics, especially as part of her job duties for background. I did not know that there are a ton of people from Illinois State University in the athletics department right now. And she told us a really funny story of the first time she met Dawn Sullivan. And we also talked about a bronze turkey.
Interesting. Did you talk to her about her thesis also?
Yes, I did. Yep.
Love
And
it.
she said she did not know that that was online. She didn't know that the abstract was out there.
Matthew is quite the researcher. Love to see it. Thank you, Matthew. Abigail, cross country.
Do you know what week it is, Karen?
Crimson Classic.
Yeah, it's race week. We get to watch the Tigers again, and in a sport where races are rare, I'm super excited. So, the Tigers head to the Crimson Classic in Alabama this Friday. It's interesting because a lot of the teams in the SEC are not competing this week. It seems like they would have either competed during the Gans Creek Classic week and then taken a week off. The Tigers added in an extra race, and while I can't speak to Levermore's strategy in doing so, I think it's probably because he wants to go head-to-head against BAMA, who is such an SEC giant. They'll be racing on the Harry Pritchett cross-country course. That's cool because it's a bona fide exclusive cross-country course, just like Missouri's is. It's not a golf course that has runners on it. It is a built for cross-country, redesigned for cross-country. It hosted SECs in a couple of years ago. So this is a super professional course, which is exciting. And last week in my recording, I mentioned that the rankings came out, and I want to contextualize a little bit deeper why it's so cool that the Missouri cross-country men are fourth in the Midwest region. So right now, as I refer to my numbers, they are fourth in the Midwest region behind Ohio State, ISU, and Loyola Chicago. Why is that impressive nationally? Ohio State is number one nationally right now in the coaches poll. ISU, as in Iowa State University, is number 4 nationally in the coaches poll. Thank you, guys. And Loyola Chicago, Illinois is receiving votes. So they are fourth behind the 2 top 5 teams and a national team receiving votes, which I know doesn't have a nice little gesture. So the Midwest region is one of the most elite regions in the country. Now, they will not be facing either of those 3 teams at the Crimson Classic, but they will be facing Alabama. Alabama is impressive in the South region. They are also number 12 in the national coaches poll. So the SEC and the Midwest, the conference and the region that Missouri exists in, are incredibly competitive on a national scale. I'm confused as to what that means.
Receiving votes.
Oh, thank you. That really threw me off. Listeners, Karen just put up a sticky note that said RV, and I was trying to rack my brain as to how that relates to cross country, but in fact, Loyola Chicago is receiving votes. All of that to say, Missouri men's cross country team is not receiving votes, but they are ranked up against some of the best teams in the national conversation. Here's where it gets interesting, if that wasn't already interesting. BAMA, as I said, 12th in the nation. Incredibly competitive, has several Olympians, one of just the distance giants on an international recruiting scale. Loyola went up against Loyola Chicago, who's placed third in the Midwest, who right now Missouri men's cross country are knocking on the door of overtaking, actually had a head-to-head matchup against BAMA last week, October 4th, at the Sean Earl Invite. And BAMA wiped the rug with them. Loyola took 5th and BAMA took 2nd, and they were way far away. So what I'm interested in is not Missouri beating BAMA. That will not happen. If that happens, Missouri might win nationally or they might win out at SEC conferences. But if they can get closer to BAMA than Loyola Chicago competed against BAMA, I think Mizzou has a chance of overtaking them in the Midwest region. Why is all this important? I don't think Missouri Tigers have a chance at beating the number 1 and number 4 team in the nation at the regional meet. You need to take top 2 teams automatically qualify. But for the first time in a while, we might have a large bid conversation coming if they inch up closer in the Midwest region, or at least individually speaking, there might be another conversation there. So hopefully that helps clarify and contextualize just how impressive these powerhouses are. On the women's side, a little bit less competitive. As Livermore has said many, many times, this program does not lack talent, it lacks experience. That's been reflected in their racing thus far. I also don't foresee the women overtaking BAMA at the Crimson Classic. Alabama right now ranks number 7 nationally. So they're a giant in the sport. But I did do some digging. I'm really excited. Talking a little bit about race strategy, okay? What did we see last time out at Gans Creek Classic? What can I expect at Crimson Classic? And the one thing that was a bit of a pressure point for the Missouri Tigers was Blake Morris overtaking the lead. He led the race for a moment for the Missouri men and then took 3rd behind Ryder James and Drew Rogers. I think look to have Ryder James lead the entire way. Assuming Ryder James is healthy and competing at the same level he has all season, there should be no point in the race in which he is not the lead pack. Why is that important? He sets the pace, and Blake Morris definitely kind of just lost steam a little bit. Let Ryder James set the pace. He should be your front runner. He should be your front runner throughout. So that's a particular storyline that I'm really excited to watch. I did a little bit more digging into Ryder James throughout this week. He actually hails from a very, very small 1A school in Missouri, and he was their senior cross-country champion his senior year. And just a really cool story. He's actually competed against Blake Morris or Drew Rogers. He competed against his teammates in that race, and just comes from a really small town, small program, and has always had his sights set on Mizzou. So
nice. Where is he from?
I knew you were going to ask. I don't recall off the top of mind. I recalled it was a very small 1A. But yeah, super excited.
That's awesome. And then hopefully you'll get a chance to talk to Ryder.
Ryder, if you're listening to the Majority Rules, I would love to tell your story. We are in contacts. Just a very, very busy time for everyone involved at the moment. But yeah, I understand that Majority Rules interview is not top of mind. I get it.
I think that it should be, but maybe that's just me. Whatever. Thank you, Abigail. Excited to see what comes next from you and how they do at this Crimson Classic. Yay. All right. So Rory obviously is not with us. She will be providing us with some of her takeaways from baseball. She went to 2 of the games this weekend. And men's golf was in action today. She'll have some updates from that. Excuse me. And also some swim and dive updates. So let's backtrack a little bit to baseball because Matthew went to a fall ball game.
That is correct.
And I just want to hear a little bit about your experience watching the Tigers play against the Tigers.
Yeah. So thankfully, I was able to cobble together enough information to keep score and kind of keep some unofficial stats. And just remembering some of my main impressions, Jackson Lovich looks like he is going to be the undisputed leader of this offense. He had a solid outing in the game that I watched. From what I saw from Rory, she was impressed by his performances over the weekend. He was a really solid piece last year. I believe he's a junior now, so I would expect him to be the main contributor on offense. Somebody else who may step up this year into a bigger role, Jarrett Curtis, the center fielder. We know that he's got some speed, but he hit 2 home runs, including a leadoff home run in the first game of the Fall World Series. So you may see more of a power-speed combo from him this year, which would be really intriguing. It adds a different dimension to this team that I don't think they necessarily had last year. And then Cameron Benson is going to be another name to watch in the outfield. Transfer in from Memphis. He put together some very impressive numbers in the Coastal Plain League this summer. And usually when you do that, you're going to be really good in collegiate baseball after that. So I think he's set up for a really good year. I think that he went 1 for 4 on the day that I was there, but he hit 2 fly balls to the warning track, and the wind was kind of working against him from what I could see. So he is going to be another guy who can provide some solid pop in this lineup, probably be somewhere between like the 3 and 6 spot in the lineup for the Tigers would be my guess, unless they want to go Curtis and Benson to lead off the order. And then on the pitching side of things, I was very impressed by Josh McDevitt. He made a big step up in summer ball. He really struggled his freshman season, had some issues with command, and that was lessened over summer ball. He had about a 4.50 ERA, but that's generally pretty respectable for a pitcher in summer ball. Looks like he could make a jump this season. 3 innings, went scoreless, only allowed, I believe, 1 hit, and got 2 strikeouts on a nasty slider that he displayed. So he's looking like a guy who could potentially compete for a starting job this year, maybe a
What
mid.
year is he?
I believe he's a sophomore. And the other pitcher, let me see, as I look up my notes from this competition. The other pitcher that really stood out to me was Charlie Miller. He ended up coming in the 9th. He recorded a strikeout, induced weak contact twice, and he's a guy who may be a new face to emerge out of the bullpen this year. So those were really the people that stood out to me.
Cool. Thank you. And I believe you'll be at Thursday's game.
Yep. I will be decorating the district and then going to cover some baseball.
Nice.
Karen,
who knows if the game time will stay the same?
Well, hopefully it stays at about 4:15, 4:30, because otherwise I can't decorate the district.
And what were you going to say, Abigail?
I just wanted to fill in. So Ryder James is from Paxton, Illinois, and he competed at that state championship meet against Drew Rogers from Herscher, Illinois. They're both small 1A schools. So Drew Rogers won a state championship earlier in his high school career, and then James beat him. So now they're teammates at Mizzou.
Thank you for that follow-up. Matthew is quite the Illinois trivia enthusiast. I'm sure by next week he'll have looked up those schools and have various fun facts to tell us.
I really know what sport we're going to next.
Hey guys, it's Rory coming at you from a bit of a different angle this week due to homecoming, but I'm here to recap baseball, golf, and swim and dive for you. So this past weekend, I was at Mizzou Baseball's Fall World Series, which is a lot of fun. It was great weather to sit out there and watch the Tigers take on the Tigers, which was a little confusing, hard to adjust to at first. It was the TWT versus Los Tigres, but it was a good matchup. The only frustrating thing is, Karen mentioned this earlier about softball, is that there's no names on the jerseys. And Matthew didn't get a roster until day of. He went to the first game, so it was really confusing to try and literally squint as they walked up to the plate to see what number they were. And then it made it hard to know who was in the field and where, just because there was no PA announcer, there was no starting lineup, anything like that. So that's where we suffered a bit following the game. But just again, a lot of fun. Some standouts for me were Jackson Lovich. He was a driving force at the plate, and I think he's going to be the key part of this offense moving forward. In the second game, he had 2 walks, a hit by pitch, and an RBI single. In that first game that I went to, he had a triple and worked a near 15 pitch at bat. He did end up striking out, but to work the pitcher like that just shows great plate discipline and awareness, and just shows how confident he is up at the plate. Both Picarelli and Benson hit home runs in that first game. Caden Peer reached base in 3 out of 4 in the first game. PJ Green had 2 singles and 1 RBI. So those were my takeaways from the 2 games at the plate. When it came to the mound, there were a ton of transfers that had their first appearances this weekend, which I thought was really cool. You got to learn about them more. You can find more about those transfers on my Twitter, actually, from when they came in, and a little bit more information about them. One of the transfers that stuck out to me was Jalen Merchant. So he struck out 2 in the bottom of the 8th inning to end the game and deny a walk-off for the Tigres. Now, bottom of the 8th inning sounds interesting when I say he denied a walk-off, but it was interesting. I don't know if this is a rule that they do in fall ball a lot, but they played a double inning. So in the 8th inning, every run counted for twice as much as it was worth, and then there was no 9th inning. There were still 3 outs. Well, actually, what they do in this World Series is there's 4 players that come to the plate per inning, no exceptions. You can leave the runners on base. There's technically 4 outs, but there's still 3 outs. I'm going to try to explain this in the best way possible. So you have your 4 batters that lead off the inning. If those first 3 all strike out, 3 outs. Starts over. So then if the 4th hitter of the inning hits a single, he'll be on first base to start the 2nd inning with no outs. Then if the next 3 strike out, he leaves first base because that was the end of that inning, but there's still a 4th hitter. Kind of confusing to follow along. I got lost in that first game that I was at, and I messed up the score a little bit, but by the second game, felt more natural, was under control. So you can learn more about that in an article that I will have coming to you guys shortly, with just a bunch of takeaways from me. But again, it was a great showing. I think there's a lot of potential with this team. I do think compared to the rest of the SEC, it is going to be a little bit of a rough season again. But it's also the second year under new coaches. It's a completely different looking team. A ton of transfers came in, and we also had a bunch leave. So getting to go to the Fall World Series this weekend and kind of see how the team is looking was definitely interesting. That first game that I was at was a complete pitcher's duel. The final score was 4-4. So there was play at the plate, but it was definitely pitcher dominated. That second game there was some struggle of command for TWT in particular, where they definitely suffered, and that one was more of a hitter's game for that time around. But I will say a pitcher that did have a great game, and that second one was Nick Smith. Now, he's been a constant reliever. However, he started the game for the Tigres and went 3 innings and gave up no runs. If you look at the box score, there were 2 runs scored in that second inning. However, they were off in error by the first baseman, which is why they both reached base and scored. So it won't hurt his ERA moving forward. But if we switch gears into a bit of a different sport that happened this weekend, we can look at swim. The Missouri Tigers, The Missouri Tiger women's swim and dive team headed to Fayetteville, Arkansas this weekend and produced a huge win, winning by a score of 174 to 125. They had 27 swimmers end up on the podium in some capacity and won outright 11 events. So I kind of compared this to the black and gold meet results, and then I can just give you some straight up results from the weekend in Arkansas. But Lena Blank, she was actually faster in this meet than she was in black and gold, and her best is ranked 4th all time, which is a 59.97 at the meet. She swam a minute 41. So the fact that she's already close to her personal best, which is 4th all time this early in the season, is a huge sign moving forward. Her 200 breaststroke was also faster by a whole second. And we think, Karen and I have been looking at this, we think that might have been her personal best at Mizzou. It's kind of hard to find records, so I don't want to absolutely say yes, but that is definitely what it is looking like. Francesca Smith, also a sophomore, or she's a sophomore, excuse me, swam the exact same time at the black and gold meet in both the 50 free and the 100 free. Also, another one that could be a personal best came from that 100 freestyle. The only one we could find was from her freshman season, which was a 50.19, and this one was a 50.06. So we believe that was a personal best. Maeve DeYoung, she's a freshman. She was really close to her 200 back time and 100 back time from the black and gold meet. Zara Zalen was within 0.50 seconds from her black and gold time in the 200 free, which we believe that time from the black and gold was her personal best. And there was no faster times than the SECs from last year for her with that. Grace Hansen, she's a junior. Her score in the 50 free was her time in the 53 was basically identical to the black and gold meet times, and her best was from her freshman season, which was a 22.93. This one was a 23.37. So again, kind of inching back towards that time. Danielle Gleason, 500 free, was within a 10th of her time from the black and gold. Which is insanely impressive to have those times back to back, especially when you're not in your home pool. And they like to call Missouri a swimmer's pool just because of the way of the depth and just a lot of the logistics with the pool. Michael Phelps broke a record in the pool, which is a notable thing that they tell you on tours here. But that's just something to keep in mind, is going to Arkansas and displaying these times again is incredibly impressive. Now, this one, Karen sent me, which I thought is insane. Insane. She's a freshman. Her name is Katie Griesick. I believe I'm saying that right. Won the 1,000 free, which was not, it wasn't swam at the black and gold. And her 9-minute, 55-second, 0.32 time puts her 7th all time in the Missouri record books. She's a freshman who is swimming this for the first time ever. And is 7th all time already. So that I was taken aback looking at that, because that's the first time you're swimming it at the collegiate level. Once you get more reps with that, you could start to see that time trick down, not by huge margins, but definitely look for personal bests in that event throughout the season. So just really, really impressive by those women this weekend. A lot of them continued to impress me. Grace Hansen earned her first win of the season in the 100 fly with a time of 54.21. Abby Tott looked really good in the 200 back. She had a first place finish of a minute 56.93. Sydney Bales picked up victories in the 200 medley relay and the 100 back. And as I said, Katie Griesick was another just absolutely outstanding swimmer for me. And opening it, I compared the times from the black and gold meet. And the reason I say that is because if you look back at Karen's article about the black and gold meet, most of those times were personal bests, setting a record right out the gate in an intrasquad meet. which is practically unheard of. You normally don't see these times start to form until a bit into the season, when you have that experience under your boots and you're getting used to swimming again, and the capacity, normally a bigger crowd when you're at an actual meet, helps you swim faster. So to do it in an intrasquad against your own teammates and to have these impressive times and then follow those impressive times up again when you're not at home, I think this swim team is something special. I really think this is something to definitely keep an eye on moving forward, because this team's gonna knock a lot of you out of the water. Sorry, I had to drop a pun in there. But switching gears again, we are going to men's golf. They went to the Turtle Point Invite hosted by North Alabama. They sent 4 individuals instead of a team. Mizzou women did this about 2 weeks ago, I believe now. They sent a team and an individual. So again, their times. I'm stuck in the swim mindset now after I was saying score for all of swim. But their scores aren't counted towards a team. However, there is an individual competition within the team competition, which is where they slot in. Now, at the beginning of the season, I said a key golfer to look out for was sophomore Brock Snyder, and he just finished his second straight top 15 finish to start this year off with a bang. He finished the 54-hole tourney, posting a par under 3, and he posted a final round 73 for a career best 213 as his final score. He had 10 birdies and 1 eagle as he placed 12th overall. So just another top 15 finish, which is huge. You had freshman Trent Murrell. He finished the tournament strong. He finished 2 under on Tuesday, which, yeah, on the 15th, depending on when this comes out. He finished 18th over the 54 holes. And then Jacob Hansen and Bubba Chapman were the other 2 individuals. They did not have as strong of a meet. They finished respectively. Hansen was over 6 and Chapman was 9 over par. So just a little shaky from them, but guys, these are all freshmen except for Brock Snyder. So to get this experience under their belts as individuals in a tournament like this is a really big deal. And they will be back in action actually this Sunday, competing at the Williams Cup hosted by North Carolina. If I had to take a guess, I would definitely think Brock Snyder is put right back into the lineup for this one. For the rest of the freshmen, I don't know if I would take that bet, just because this normally isn't the team that's fielded for these golf tournaments. You normally see a different roster, which is why I think these 4 went as individuals this week, which makes me kind of doubt Brock Snyder would be back in action. However, just 2 top 15 finishes, it's kind of hard to look and to leave him off. But I'll have an update for you guys on Twitter about this weekend's golf tournament, and I'll let you know whether Brock Snyder is rostered. But that's it for me, guys, covering all things baseball, golf, and swim. I know that was a lot to keep track of, and I tend to be a very fast talker. So please feel free to go to my Twitter. It's Rory Whetstone7, and I will have updates on all things for all 3 of those sports for you guys. If you want to look back, if you missed the baseball tournament this weekend, all of my information from the 2 games I worked are in there. Matthew Gustafson, please go to his Twitter handle as well. He was at the first of the World Series, and he has a ton of information on that game for you guys as well. Really informative. He called himself the bench coach to my manager. So we're really excited to bring you all kinds of baseball coverage this fall season, moving before it all kicks into high gear in the spring. And keep an eye out for an article from kind of both of us, from our takeaways from the weekend. But they do have a game today, Wednesday, October 16th. So I'll try to keep you posted, but unfortunately they don't love to post on social media throughout the games. Take that as you will. So I won't have probably stats from each player, but I can see what I can find. But as always, thanks for tuning in, guys.
Softball. It's like they heard my complaints. Because they had a game. They had numbers on their jerseys. Granted, Matthew was there with me. They were very small. There was a tiny one on the sleeve and one on the back. But the problem with the one on the back is that their hair was mostly covering it. So you didn't really know. So Matthew was my eyes at the softball game on Saturday, and really helped me figure out who we were watching.
Well, next time I show up, I'll bring a pair of binoculars.
Right? I know we're like, who is that? That looks like a 2-digit number. What is that?
We figured it out. It just took longer than it would have if I brought a pair of binoculars.
You'll know for next
We can speed up the
time.
process next time.
I don't think that you knew going in that that's what I was going to be expecting of you. But your vision is apparently better than mine, because I was like, I have no idea. So they also played Kaskaskia last Thursday. I was not at that game, but I heard that they won something like 22 or 23-0. Matthew was there for a little bit. When he left in the 6th inning, you said it was something like 19.
It was 19-0, and they had a no-hitter going.
Yeah, so just massive dominance there. So on Saturday, they took on a little bit more of a legitimate opponent in Big Ten and bragging rights for Illinois. The Tigers won 9-3. They did a lot of their scoring in bunches. They scored 3 in the 3rd inning after Claire Cahalan hit a single and Crenshaw walked, and then Kentucky transfer Taylor Ebbs homered. Then they added 4 more runs in the 5th inning on back-to-back-to-back singles by Oklahoma State transfer Hayden Sokolowski. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I tried really hard. She was very impressive in this game. Kaylee Langer and Nevaeh Watkins were the back-to-back-to-back singles. And then there was a sacrifice by Tiny Claire in there. And then Abby Hay, who continues to rake. Get it? Abigail, come on. I made a pun. You're supposed to laugh.
I got it in a second.
Oh my
I'm sorry.
gosh. Anyway,
Abby Hay.
Abby Hay hit a 2-run double, and it was 7-0, I think, at that point. They did give up a couple of runs. Taylor Pinnell gave up a home run. JC Cruze came in for a little bit. She had a rough time. I think she might have given up a home run too. So they did give up 3 runs, but it's all right. As my dad reminded me, it's fall ball, Karen. People are just working on stuff. A couple of takeaways. Weirdly, Dylan, get ready for this. Kara Daly is playing some shortstop. Little different.
Yeah, I mean that's the great thing about softball is like many of these players played these positions in high school. Like almost everyone you see on a daily basis probably played shortstop in high school because it's usually daily basis. No,
I see what you did
like,
there.
Usually you put your best player at shortstop, and so if you got to go play college ball, you're probably the best player on your high school team. So I guarantee almost everyone has seen a little shortstop action. I kind of like her at that hot corner a lot more, but I get it. Yeah. You probably don't want to put a young, inexperienced player at shortstop. So I'd be very interested to see if that's something that persists, especially as we head into some of these like early tournaments in February.
I have a feeling that this is a backup option for them, right? She's, getting some reps in case they need to call upon her, but she's been, really solid overall in her career at third base. And, you'll see it in base. I think she's just she's too tall for shortstop. They need to cover a lot of ground. They need to get down really low. And that's something that's going to be more difficult for her. If you've watched Ellie De La Cruz on the Cincinnati Reds, that's a problem. O'Neal Cruz on the Pirates, that's been a problem. So generally taller, lankier shortstops aren't always the most effective, and a lot of the times they end up moving over to third base. And given that that's where Daly's natural position has been with the Tigers already, I would expect that's where she'll be pretty much every game this year. But it is a good backup plan to have, and it's really good to know that she has the ability to step into that position in a pinch.
So what I read, interestingly enough, from some Mizzou softball insiders, is that one of the reasons why they're having her play shortstop is because Larissa Anderson likes Madison Walker best at third. That is her natural position. And she wants her bat in the lineup. So that could be part of the reason why Daly could be playing some shortstop, because you obviously want her in the lineup as well. And like with the loss of Jenna Laird, that position has been kind of a revolving door so far in fall ball. Like they have not settled on anybody. I can't even keep track of all of the people that have been playing that position, not only because they don't have names on their jerseys, but also because it has literally been different people playing. So the funny thing for me was that I see this tall blonde person playing shortstop and I'm just confused. Like I have no idea what's happening. And so I'm like knocking on the glass trying to get Eric to tell me who's playing shortstop. And he comes in and I was like, who's at third? Who's at short? And he was like, yeah, so Kara's at short. He's like, I don't know. I heard she made some good plays, so seems like a good idea.
Who's on first? What's on second? I don't know who's on third.
I mean, I think it's very interesting with the Madison Walker thing, because obviously you want her bat in the lineup. You want Stefania Abriscato's bat in the lineup. But you want to put Julia Crenshaw at catcher. Obviously, you want that senior voice behind the dish. So it's how do you put both Madison Walker and Stefania Abriscato, who are usually your DPs or DHs, in the lineup? So that means you move Madison Walker to third, you have Stefania DP, then Cara Daly's got to go somewhere. And so I guess.
But then where does Hayden go? Because you're going to want her bat in the lineup too.
I think there's a lot of question marks. Definitely.
So many question marks.
Do they have Hay at first? Hay did so well at first. Okay, good.
Yeah.
I don't think they're moving Abby Hay.
Was so confident in that position last season, even just as a freshman.
She's at first. Ebbs is at second. Several different people have played third. A boatload of people have played short. Outfield, it's kind of hard to tell who's been out there. The only people that have been, Claire Cahalan has pretty consistently been in left field every game I've been at, and is out there like pretty much the whole game. Nevaeh Watkins has been in right a lot, but they have put in some other people. Center has been Kaylee Langer moved from right to center. But I think other people have been going out there. It's like once the 7th inning hits, since they are playing 10-inning games, like coach just like everybody's batting, everybody's changing positions, and it's just like wholesale changes every single inning, and it makes it very hard to figure out what is going on.
I will say that back to our discussion about the lineup, the fact that we're talking about, they have all these hitters and how are they going to get all these players into the lineup is a really good conversation to have, because I feel like offense is the main concern right now for this team. So if we're looking at this going, okay, you're looking up and down the lineup and you're struggling to fit all of your solid hitters in, then that's a really positive indicator coming out of fall.
True. Now, I will mention this. I did also find this out. So I have been asking the last couple of weeks, asking about where Marissa McCann is, since we have not seen her pitch. She apparently had off-season surgery. She should be ready for the season to start. She and Maya Dodge both had off-season surgery. So like you see both of them out in in the dugout, celebrating and stuff. But I thought I was going crazy. Like, I was like, how am I just like going to these games and reading what some observers have to say, and not a single person is talking about Marissa McCann? Like, what is going on here? Apparently she had surgery. So that's what's going on with that. They play Missouri Southern University on Friday, I believe. I will not be at that game because I will be at House Deck. So best of luck to the Tigers in a game that they should easily win. Let's switch over to off season, out of season sports updates. First up, women's basketball. The SEC Tipoff starts tomorrow afternoon for our fair Tigers.
Yes.
Dylan, who is with Coach P in Birmingham.
I mean, no real shocker here. It's Ashton Judd, Grace Slaughter, the two faces of your program, the whole two homegrown Missouri girls. Ashton Judd actually is now tied with Avery Crockett for the longest tenured Tiger on the team, which kind of feels crazy to say, given they're only juniors. I know, right?
Okay.
But, I mean, that senior leader, you can expect her to be very vocal, especially in the backcourt this year. Grace Slaughter expected to take a huge step forward, especially in her three-point shooting. Just her size that she brings is kind of that wing to the SEC. I think is going to fit her quite well. Maybe don't put her too much in the post, but if you can keep her out in that three-point range and into that mid-range, expect a lot of success. But these are your two faces of the program. It definitely feels like a 1A and a 1B option with a lot of question marks around them. There's a lot of returning from injuries with Avery Cronkey. Demilo Brown is playing again after the denial of the transfer request thing, blah, blah, blah.
So mad still.
A lot of new transfers, a lot of players who are still trying to find their roles. So I know you're probably going to ask me anyways, but I'm trying to put together a piece to kind of say, all right, here are some of the questions we've got about this roster and about everything. Here's what we know. Back to your initial thing, SEC Media Day, they're going to be out there for 2 hours. I don't know how much of that coverage will be made to the available public who's not actively there, but I will get everything I can, try and put together as much as I can find and see, especially interested to see what Coach P thinks about this team in a very pivotal year for this program.
Preseason poll came out, right?
Yes, the Tigers in the preseason poll are number 15 in the SEC. They rank just above Arkansas. Although I do think that a lot of these polls, it's interesting to see, but I wouldn't put too much stock into it. I wouldn't go ahead and say they're going to win the whole darn thing, especially with teams like South Carolina and LSU. But I think there's a lot of room for them to move up against a lot of these other kind of bottom teams, like you see your Georgias, your Mississippi States that are like, okay, how really good can this team be and how big of an impact, especially can the transfers have?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there really are just a ton of questions about the women's basketball program. And we really haven't, I know you got to go to that one practice, but it's been pretty quiet, except for they've done those cute little videos where you get to know the players a bit more. But we don't really know anything. So maybe we'll find out something tomorrow.
I'm assuming we will. Stay tuned. We'll have something.
One can hope. And then we just have a couple more things. So gymnastics. Yay. I went to the gymnastics intrasquad on Saturday. It was awesome. Matthew came and joined me later, taking the action. These Tigers, man. Shannon was very impressed with how well they're acclimating and the improvement that they're showing for it to only be mid-October. I will share this video that Nate Salzman took of the 6 10.0 start value vaults that the Tigers have at their disposal. And Shannon said that they actually may end up with a couple more. So there may be more than a lineup worth of them. Let me turn off that. Okay, I gotta go back to being. So even added text here. So we have Elise from Towson, Hannah Horton, Jocelyn, Grace Ann, who did not do Yurchenko 1.5 last year. And then Kaya does this different sort of vault, which is also a 10.0 start value. And then you have Amari. So just really impressive. Also, really good landings. That's something that Shannon stresses so much, is the importance of sticking the landings. And I know they're like kind of, it's not real right now, but they're doing a really good job here. And I'm just really impressed.
I was going to say that Tanskinen one looked like at least a 9.85, if not a 9.9 to me.
I like it.
And I mean, she's a freshman, so.
She is a freshman.
That's very impressive to me.
So we didn't see full out floor routines because, again, it's mid-October and they have to work up their endurance for those. So some of the floor routines, they have their music, they're starting to do it. They stop the music, they run over, and then they do their pass like to the side. So instead of going diagonal across, they're doing a side pass, but they're still practicing that part of it. We 100% are going to have a new viral floor routine that may even beat Kennedy Griffin's Destiny's Child 1. Hannah Horton is doing a Michael Jackson themed floor routine, and it is freaking incredible. Just like moonwalking, the Thriller dance, the smooth criminal with the fake hat, like it is unreal. It's so awesome. I asked Jackie Turpak about it, and she said the key's going to get her to like really believe and like get herself into the mindset that she can do it. But it looked so good. The music was awesome. Saw Addie Lawrence perform on balance beam for the first time since freshman year because she was out all season last year due to major hip surgery. She looked incredible. I'm pretty sure that was her first full routine that she'd done in front of like a crowd since her surgery. So the team reacted really excitedly about that. Everybody rushed over. What else? Couldn't really see bars because they have 2 sets of bars in the Tiger Performance Center. And when we first got there, they were using the set of bars that were very easy to see. So like we saw Mari Celestine with her patented Celestine dismount, which is actually named after her. So that was beautiful to see. But then they moved over to the other bars, which you like can't see. So barely saw anything of the other bar routines. But yeah, it was awesome. Been trying to figure out some of their schedule, parts of their schedules out. I'm hoping that by next week's episode, we'll have figured out the entire rest of the schedule. Teams are slowly starting to release information. Lou to the Zoo will happen again. Abigail, get prepared. It's on Valentine's Day.
Redemption.
I've told Shannon that the weather has to behave. And he said that he can't control the weather, and I really think he can. So I am going to ask for him to make the weather good for that to be a wonderful trip.
I think we should stop at McDonald's on the way back either way. Just for Nostalgia's
Yeah.
sake.
So yeah, it was really awesome. There's a donor practice coming November 2nd, so I'll be at that one. And then they have another public inter-squad the 16th of November. And I'll be at that one too. I'll be at all of them. I love it. I just love it so much. Matthew, real quick,
Yes.
since you were there,
Quickly.
you got to talk to Shannon about Beauty and the Beast.
Yes, I did. But before we get to that, two quick things. Number one, due to the Lou gymnastics meet, who knows? Kind of sounds like it could be a fun majority rules group outing. And then I know it was
Road
either
trip.
Karen. I know it was either you or Abby. It may have been Abigail. You threw down the gauntlet. I'm rising to the occasion. Paxton, Illinois, home of former hockey player, Stanley Cup winning, two-time Stanley Cup champion, Harold Clarence Mush March, a right winger for the Chicago Blackhawks. All right, let's get to Beauty and the Beast. That is going to be January 3rd. It's going to be happening at Mizzou Arena, and competitions in wrestling, gymnastics, going to be happening side by side, simultaneously on the Mizzou Arena floor. Wrestling is going to be taking on Cornell in one of the biggest non-con duels of this schedule. They have a loaded schedule this year as usual, but that is one of the biggest ones. And then gymnastics as well is going to have a quad meet, and those are, I believe, both going to be at 6 p.m.
Oh, I didn't know the time, but yes, it will be a quad meet.
Yep.
Mizzou will be taking on SEMO, Ball State, and Northern Illinois, I believe.
I don't think it was Northern Illinois.
Some Illinois and Illinois. Illinois State.
Yes,
Illinois State,
yes.
Illinois State, Ball State, and SEMO. I don't have that paper in front of me. Yes, you're right.
Yep. So, yeah, the current time is listed at 6 p.m. on the wrestling page. So we do know the time for Beauty and the Beast. And again, it'll be at Mizzou Arena. They're going to be the two events side by side, and it is going to be a lot of fun.
Incredible. Shannon said that they push back rows of the bleachers to make sure that everybody can fit. And then they're trying something different with quad meets this year, where only two events are going at a time instead of somebody on all four, because that is just like too much stimulation. Like, you can't pay attention to what's going on if you're trying to watch four things at one time. So they are only doing two events at one time, but he's really excited. I believe it's the first time that they've done the event since 2019.
I think that's correct.
Yeah. So really cool. Yay. Awesome. I guess that's about all, guys. So if you wouldn't mind, dear listeners, please head to Rock M Nation, support the work of so many student journalists and some really amazing writers as well. Last week alone, we put out, I don't know, close to 50 articles. It was a lot. You can support us by subscribing to this podcast feed and leaving a 5-star review. I'd love to see a comment on the YouTube sometime, only if it's nice. But, you know, I'll take some YouTube comments. That would be fun. You also can support us by joining our subscription service at rockm.plus. It is only $5 a month. And you can follow us on the Twitter. I am at Karen Steger. Matthew is at M_Gustafson27. Dylan is at Dylan R. Heinrich. Rory, not here, is at Rory Whetstone7. And then we always finish with Abigail at Abigail_. Clap with a K. Clap. Thank you for joining us. See you next time. M-I-Z.
ZOU.
ZOU.
Oh, good job, guys. Go Tigers.
We're getting
Happy
better.
homecoming.
We are
homecoming, guys.
getting way better at this.
We are.
Only 9-ish episodes in.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to Rock M Radio, a proud partner of Fans First Sports Network. Rock M Radio is the official podcast network of Rock M Plus, a new and exciting subscription service provided by me and the other voices of Rock M Radio. Please take a few moments to head over to rockm.plus and sign up for an account today. The cost is only $5 a month, and the benefits include access to our live podcast, a subscriber-only message board, weekly newsletters, and more. If you enjoyed this episode of Rock M Radio and would like to see more just like it beamed directly into your personal device, make sure to click the subscribe button below and tell your friends. Our podcast feed is available through the Apple Podcast app for iPhone, Google Podcast app for Android, whatever app you listen to your podcast. You can also find Rock M Radio on Spotify. If you're looking for a podcast about your favorite team that is not the Missouri Tigers, Fan First Sports Network is your answer. A full podcast network loaded with the team-specific podcasts covering Major League Baseball, the NFL, NHL, NBA, MLS, and more. And we'll be back with more episodes of Rock M Radio coming to you soon.